Okay, so as you know, I'm up for anybody doing anything that helps them. But as someone who has been through a lot, done a lot of things, tried a lot of things, especially in the spiritual community, I can only speak from my personal experience. And that is all I can speak from is my personal experience. Does my experience have to be yours? Absolutely not, but I digress. So, vision boards. Anytime I would make a vision board, what I was doing is locking in what I thought that the future for me would be. If I had done this, I'd be a manager at Olive Garden if I had done a vision board at that time, or I would be a tarot reader that might be upping their price to $55 an hour, or still waiting to marry a guy who, in fact, was actually married. I'll do more, part 2 in the comments. Basically, what I'm saying with that is that vision boards limit you, right? How the fuck would me working at an Olive Garden into astrology, how the fuck would I have any knowledge that there was a future timeline of me that does what the fuck I do now? How could I have put that on any kind of vision board? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're in a state where you think the best version of you is the manager at Olive Garden, and not to say that that's a bad version of somebody, I'm just saying, look at who I am right now. That wouldn't have been it for me. That wasn't the most healed version of me. Do you know what I'm saying? There are some people, I'm sure, that like to take things in small steps, right? So it's like, okay, this is my comfort level. This is what I want to put on the vision board. This is like, I will be great if I get, 3 weeks into the future or whatever. If it fucking works for you, I say go for it. But also, you can heal something so intense right now that you just click and are like 20 steps into your own personal timeline, future timeline, by healing the thing. Does that make sense? So when I was manifesting a life that I wanted, I was buying the furniture for the guy I was seeing, enough chairs for his kids. Even though it was just me and my 2 kids at the time, I was buying chairs for up to 6 people. Picking out dishes with him in mind. Furniture with him in mind. Decorating with him in mind. Living like we were already together so we could be together. It's funny about creating a space where I was already with this person. At the same exact time, I had already started healing things in my highest good. So I was fucking contradicting myself right away. I was stuck. I was literally stuck, motionless for a year. The whole time I was pregnant with Casey Ray, my 4-year-old. I had just moved into a house, a rental house, and I was using the money from the house that I sold because I was going to move in with this guy, and then he bailed on me the day before the house closed. Still moved to the area, still got my own place. Interesting enough, I was like, let me pay all the rent up front for this place to make sure I don't blow this money, And they wanted a 9-month lease. I got knocked up the day I moved in. So the 9-month lease with a 9-month pregnancy, isn't that interesting? And I was frozen in time for like a year. In the pregnancy, the baby, Casey Ray, had stopped it to where I couldn't do my spiritual work. Like I couldn't take people on past lives. I couldn't do anything. It was a really protected energy. And that had a lot to do with the fact that she was, this sounds crazy, it doesn't matter. Her oversoul was locked up in the sun since like ancient Egypt. It's not anymore. It hasn't been. It's like the whole timelines have all been like changed and healed. That's besides the point. But I didn't want to get a physical job because I didn't want to have to take maternity leave. So I literally just like sat there for a year, take the kids to school, come home, sit on the phone with this person I thought was my friend, and heal myself. I would heal myself a lot. And then that guy would come over on lunch break. Gross. And I still was like, oh yeah, twin flame. Crazy thing about the twin flame community is there's lots of like holding space. And there's like taking the higher road and like healing yourself and going with understanding. And, there's lots of like tarot readings that say like the divine feminine is holding space for the divine masculine. The divine masculine is scared. He's scared and he's healing. So I was consuming tarot readings like fucking mad. I was like obsessed. Plus healing my own past lives connected to other shit that I needed to heal and trying to see. It did not even dawn on me that every past life I had with this motherfucker, I was trapped and locked up in a cage and staying put, and he was visiting me. Like, just like he was in real life, in this life. And I was like, oh, we've just got so much to untangle and heal. And he's too afraid to do his own childhood trauma. I'll do it for him. Looking inward at all of my past lives. So when something would come up, I'd be like, why am I... Like, I was dealing with a pattern, I've talked about this before, of everybody was passive aggressive and it was annoying the fuck out of me. I'm like, why don't they just say what they need to say? Like, why are they being so passive aggressive? And instead of like just getting mad at why people were passive aggressive, I went to look at the past life connected to why I had, like, what was my deal with passive aggressiveness? And then by healing that life, I no longer gave a shit or even noticed if people were being passive aggressive in that way. It wasn't like super loud or irritating anymore. I would do this with everything. I started healing when emotions would come up in me. Instead of getting mad at the other person, I would be like, why the fuck does that bother me? And then I would go look at the past life connected to why that bothered me, heal it, move it to the forward, and it didn't bother me. My first understanding of like, oh, instead of focusing on a set future, go back and heal the stuff that's making me feel low self-worth, self-love, low self-esteem. Let's go look at, okay, why am I always stuck in cages? Can we break that? Oh shit, like why? What's this thing with my kids? Where's the past life where I am like a mommy monster? Let's go fucking heal that. Well then, let's look at the most traumatic life. If we can heal that and it gets rid of the trauma in my current now moment, fuck, let's do that. And then something major happened. And I went and looked at why I disliked the word witch so much. And it was in Salem. But I wasn't a witch. I was a crusader for Christ. And yeah. Okay, so when I looked at the Salem life, a lot of you are not going to like this. It is what it is. I've already been down that road and I have lots of stuff on it. But when I looked at the Salem life, I was the reason why thousands of witches died. Historically, there's not even thousands that were in that area because of this. So when I healed, when I was the monster, when I was the one that was not only a colonizer, but also a crusader for Christ that fucking damned these people like to death, burnt them, torturous. I was the monster. When I healed that, like, of course I don't like the word witch. When I healed that, that's when shit got weird. I was devastated for 2 months after seeing and experiencing an hour or two long past life walkthrough where I saw that I was the reason for all of it. And it was because some chick was trying to take my man and used witchcraft and I fucking lost it. And then I took out my own personal shit on everybody. So I was healing that life by rewriting it, by not doing those things. But I could only heal my part. I couldn't heal the whole thing at that moment in time. And I wasn't setting out to change it. I was literally I didn't want to be the monster that did that. I had perspective. I could change that part for me, heal that part for me, just like I had with the passive aggressive thing, and moved it forward into my now moment. Depressed for 2 months, but I didn't hate the word witch anymore, so there's that. But then something crazy happened. Sitting in the office, and at this office job that I had, and I was watching YouTube. I was watching, what's the fuck is that guy? All Time Scary. And he was doing a Mandela effect thing. And I liked Mandela effects. I'd been into that since like 2015. And I already knew that it was like going back and doing past life work is what makes Mandela effects, right? I talk about that a lot too. And all of a sudden he was like, witches no longer burn in Salem. Time froze. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? So mad rush, went to look at it. And I was like, holy shit, we can heal this. We could do more than what I did. There are more people involved. So I started taking people in past lives to see the fucking Salem life to heal more. Can we heal more? So that timeline actually jumps around a bit. It's like 3,000 died. Then we got it down to 20, then 12, then 6, then back up to 20 because someone decided they shouldn't have changed it. So they changed it again, which doesn't make sense. My kid was in 4th grade in America, in Florida, and they had just studied about the Salem witch trials, just like I did when I was in elementary school. But when I studied it in elementary school and in middle school, I fucking threw up and I couldn't sit in there. Now I know why. It triggered my past life, guilt, shame, massive throwing up, that kind of thing. So my 4th grader had just studied it, drowning, stoned, burnt, tortured, horrible. And they showed them in the school system. So I called up my sister, who was a 4th grade teacher, after I saw the Mandela effect. My sister said, I don't know how many died in the Salem witch trials. We don't really go into that in school. What? Not only did I go into an elementary, middle school, but my kid had just done it a month prior. All of it. Studied all of it. Based on watching a lot of Hollywood movies about going back in time, like Back to the Future, I started to freak the fuck out. I got so scared. Because of what Hollywood tells us or whatever, I started to freak the fuck out. I went into this like really big looping spiral. I called my mom, I called my sisters. They were in the reality where it never happened. But when I spoke about it online, there were thousands of others who remembered it the way that I did. And there were some that remembered it all of the different ways because they were in each of those timelines and their soul got pulled like taffy. That's when I realized we needed to do it all at one time, not in segments, because it fucks up everything. It's also when I realized that if you find the monsters and you help them heal, that's way the fuck more impactful than helping the victims. Now, helping the victims is important. You want to help the victims heal. But instead of going back in time and killing the monsters, let's go back in time and heal their shit. They have more remorse for it now. I was on a hunt to find all the historical monsters. Sending out an energetic call for all the monsters in history to find me so that I could help them with past life work. I was on TikTok also, so it reached worldwide and I could find more of the monsters. I was also able to help a lot of the victims, healing historical trauma, helping people heal themselves internally, ripple it forward. It does change reality, but in a very positive way. And it's not rewriting history, it is healing it. And I have a lot of series on that. So the point of all this is, if I had just done what the spiritual community says to do, which is like, try not to heal yourself, accept yourself for who you are, manifest the future that you want, rise above, you're better than, take you're going to elevate to 5D, fuck all those that stay in 3D in their fear. If I had focused on myself and that hierarchy mindset bullshit, I would not be where I am today. I discovered on this path that it isn't always about light, love, and forgiveness and releasing returning soul fragments. Sometimes divine justice needs to be delivered. Because if people don't wake up out of not wake up in that gross way, but wake up out of that feeling of they are the hero in every lifetime, or they have always done the right thing and everybody's beneath them, how the fuck are they going to heal? So some divine justice needed to be implanted. That's when I started getting closer to the witches on Witch Talk, and, the baneful practices. So they weren't just healing, they had critical thinking and they were into the baneful work as well. It was very copacetic. So back then me, sure as fuck, would not be doing what I'm doing now. And also sharing all of the stuff I discover online helps people break themselves out of the chains, break themselves out of the soul contracts, break themselves. Always helping others be their own hero, never trying to save them. I stay respectful that I want to help heal as much as possible. I do not heal for other people. I guide them and help them heal themselves. I stay respectful of cultures and practices, and I never overstep. I heal where I can, how I can, as much as possible in respects that people might not want it. Don't step on their culture. And we might not get everything, but we're sure as fuck gonna try. Share my journey. As I develop and step more into my abilities, every past life version of me does. So now I have all this like really cool shit I can do. And then it makes, go into these steps of like, we're all superhuman. Like, fuck, we were lied to about that shit too. Share everything that I find and help everybody empower themselves. But yeah, the spiritual stuff that's out there of like what to do to enlighten yourself, 99% of it is bull fucking shit and it did not work. I think that's it.